The Balochistan Liberation Army is said to have become a magnet for such groups who favor modern and unconventional thinking. There is also an increasing involvement of women, a radical departure in one of Pakistan's most socially conservative provinces. On August 26, the BLA released images of a woman law student from Gwadar who it said was the suicide bomber responsible for attacks on paramilitary base in Las Bela. Earlier, in April 2022, a Baloch woman with a graduate degree in medicine was identified as a suicide bomber who killed 3 Chinese nationals in the University of Karachi. There is also the rise of an increasingly vocal Baloch right-based movement, the Baloch Yakjehti Committee, comprising mainly of women activists and led by the charismatic young female doctor Mahrang Baloch. Dedicated to non-violence, it aims to raise national awareness of extrajudicial killings and so-called enforced disappearances involving ethnic Baloch. An estimated 5,000 Baloch are said to have gone missing since year 2000. Another trend with the current insurgency is the creeping xenophobia and hostility towards non-Baloch ethnic groups, many of whom are drawn to Balochistan from elsewhere in Pakistan by the prospect of economic opportunities and work on local projects. Ethnic Punjabis, who tend to dominate the security forces, have been specially vulnerable to local resentment. In the latest attacks, all the civilians reported killed by BLA were identified as Punjabi workers, which seems to confirm concerns they are being deliberately targeted by these militants. Much of the hostility against migrant workers is rooted in fears of ethnic Baloch that they could be reduced to a minority in the province or lose out in competition for jobs to relatively better qualified workers from Punjab. So far, there has been no indication that the government of Pakistan is willing to address the Baloch grievances that have fueled political alienation. This has led to concerns that Pakistan's powerful military establishment will be pursuing a heavy-handed security response to deal with what is widely judged to be a political crisis. Pressing ahead with a militarized security approach to address the crisis in Balochistan is a worrying indication that lessons from the past have not been learned. All signs point to dangerous replay of past mistakes, whereby political engagement is dismissed in favor of political management, backing groups that owe their allegiance to the military and will do its biddings. Ultimately, the escalating violence and continuing turmoil in Balochistan is a reflection of the abject failure to provide meaningful representation to the Baloch and to address their grievances which have simmered since the inception of Pakistan in 1947. In the face of an insurgency, sophisticated insurgency with power to extend its reach across vast swaths of civil society in Balochistan, resorting to brute force is no longer an option. The only way forward lies in opening channels of communication with genuine redressal of aspirations of Balochistan, rather than to the Pakistan's armed custodians of power.